Aita for reading the lease before getting absolutely played by my slumlord? Bro, so listen. I move into this janky-ass apartment because my last roommate decided to breed tarantulas in our shower. I needed out. Found this spot online. Pictures looked decent if you squinted hard enough and maybe inhaled some paint fumes. Rent was cheap, location was solid, and the landlord, some greasy dude named Chuck, said it was a hidden gem. Shoulda known right there. First week? Not bad. Yeah, the fridge made this noise like it was summoning demons at night, but I could vibe with it. I'm not picky. Second week? The ceiling starts leaking. I'm not talking little drips. Full-on indoor water feature right in the kitchen. I'm out here cooking ramen and it's raining into the pot. Free seasoning I guess. I text Chuck like, yo, my guy, pretty sure your house is crying. What's the move? He hits me back with the fakest sympathy ever. Hey bud, yeah you'll wanna grab some Flex Seal and patch that up. I can knock $25 off your rent. Bro, this man tried to pay me $25 to fix his leaky crack house ceiling. At first, I'm kinda tempted cause I'm broke and $25 is $25, but something felt off. Like, why am I fixing your house? I remembered he gave me a lease when I moved in. And not just a handshake and a wink like my last place, a whole ass packet. Thick like a high school textbook. Normally I would have just signed without reading, because who actually reads that shit? But this time, my mom was breathing down my neck. Read everything before you sign or you'll end up paying for someone else's mistakes. Blah blah whatever. Out of pure spite, I actually read it. Line by painful line. And lo and behold, on page like 6, paragraph 4, subpoint B, it says, all maintenance and structural repairs are the sole responsibility of the landlord. A MF golden ticket. So I hit Chuck back like, yo, actually under section 4B of the lease you're legally responsible for fixing the roof, my dude. Let me know when the handyman's pulling up. Also, my floor's starting to look like the Titanic set so maybe sooner than later. Left him on read. 2 days pass. No handyman. But guess what? Ceiling? Collapses. Whole chunk of plaster just splat right into the middle of the kitchen floor. I'm standing there with my Taco Bell, staring at a pile of drywall like, guess I'm eating in the living room forever now. I send Chuck a spicy email with photos attached and the subject line, floor now in possession of ceiling. Dude tries to gaslight me, saying, it was already damaged when you moved in. Bro, there was no Grand Canyon in the kitchen when I signed the lease. TF you mean? At this point, I'm living like a refugee in my own apartment. Half my kitchen's taped off with trash bags, I got pots and bowls strategically placed to catch the rain, and my cat's acting like she's in Saw IV jumping around the debris. I give Chuck one last chance. I text, I call, I email, I even Venmo requested him $500 for emotional damages, which, fair TBH. Nothing. So, being the petty menace that I am, I start weaponizing the lease harder. Every time something broke, and trust me, everything broke, I'd send him a perfectly polite, hyper-legal email. Hello Charles, as per section 3, subsection 7, you are required to maintain plumbing fixtures in habitable condition. The sink currently refuses to drain. Please advise. Good afternoon, per page 5, clause 9c, the heating must be functional between October and March. It is November. It is also 49 degrees in my bedroom. Kindly rectify. I became his worst nightmare. A nerd with receipts. Chuck starts dodging me like I'm a debt collector. But joke's on him, I am. At one point I threatened to call city housing inspectors because legally, a collapsed ceiling and no heat in November is a code violation. My guy started panicking FR. He tried bribing me with free rent for 1 month if I handled minor repairs myself. I hit him back with a screenshot of the lease and a photo of me holding a wrench upside down like a confused Sims character. Deadass, I was loving it. So after Chuck realized I wasn't some drooling idiot he could toss $25 at to fix his crumbling meth castle, he just disappeared. Like, ghosted. No texts, no calls, no sad little passive-aggressive, hope you're doing well, emails. Nothing. Meanwhile, my apartment is literally falling apart. The floorboards start warping because of the water. My stove shorts out because apparently water and electricity aren't besties. At one point I had to microwave Hot Pockets using my neighbor's outlet through the window with an extension cord like some back alley raccoon. So, being the menace I am, I actually followed through and filed a complaint with the City Housing Authority. They were thrilled. Apparently old Chuckles was already on their radar for being a scumbag. City inspector pulls up 2 weeks later, walks through my place, and straight up starts laughing. Not even in a rude way, like just a real, goddamn, this is next level, chuckle. Dude's taking photos of the leak, the collapse, the mold forming around the edges of the busted plaster like it's a damn science experiment. He's documenting everything like he's auditioning for CSI, Slumlord Unit. The best part? The inspector asked for a copy of my lease. The same lease Chuck forgot he gave me, signed and dated. Inspector sees the clause about landlord maintenance responsibility, taps the paper like it's a magic 8-ball, and goes, yeah, this is gonna cost him big time. Bro, I could've wept. Tears of joy, a single slow clap. A week after the inspection, I get a fat letter from the city. Chuck is being fined for multiple violations and is being legally ordered to make all the repairs immediately or face eviction of the tenants, aka me, with me being allowed to break the lease and sue for damages if he fails. I'm not gonna lie to you, I threw a little party with my friends. BYOB, bring your own bailiff. Chuck, being the greasy lizard he is, finally slithers back into my inbox with the most half-assed apology you've ever seen. Hey buddy, sorry about the mix-up. Totally thought you were cool handling small repairs. Let's work something out so you can stay happy. Buddy, my guy, you tried to make me slap Flex Seal on my collapsing apartment like some dollar store Bob the Builder. I hit him back with a cold, legalese-laden email drafted by my cousin who's halfway through law school. Dear Charles, per municipal code and the terms of our lease, I will be vacating the property immediately and seeking damages for the unsafe living conditions. Please forward your attorney's information. Silence. Delicious, guilty silence. I move out a month later after documenting every single busted thing in that nightmare shack, from the cracked window frames to the black mold growing on the AC unit that looked like it was trying to develop sentience. We named it Jeffrey. Jeffrey was a real one. Filed a small claims case against Chuck for my security deposit, moving costs, and pain and suffering. My boy didn't even show up to court. Judge ruled in my favor without me even needing to break a sweat. I got $3,000 and the pure uncut satisfaction of watching this grown man dodge my victory emails like he owed me child support. Moral of the story: read your damn lease. Weaponize the paperwork, be the villain they fear, and maybe don't rent from a dude who lists hustler as his job title on Facebook Marketplace. Aita for finding a loophole in the student exchange rules and pulling up with 3 parrots alright, so boom, I get accepted into this bougie-ass student exchange program. You know, the kind where they hand you a thick-ass welcome packet full of rules and expect you to actually read it instead of just shoving it under your mattress like a normal person. Day 1, we're all crammed in this orientation room. Some stressed-out program coordinator lady is power speedrunning through a slideshow titled, Living Abroad. Responsibilities and expectations, like we're not all just praying for free Wi-Fi and cheap beer. She's throwing rules at us rapid fire. No loud parties. No pets unless pre-approved. Respect host families. Don't join political protests, etc., etc. No pets unless pre-approved. That line sticks in my brain. I'm not even a pet guy. I just clock it because it sounds suspiciously vague. Like, what counts as a pet? A cat? A dog? A tarantula? What about emotional support ducks? Spoiler alert. I overthought it way too hard. A few weeks later, they hand us a little host family agreement packet to sign. Hidden in the 6th paragraph, in font so small you need a microscope to see it, it says, students are not permitted to bring animals unless the animal is not classified as a traditional household pet, or if the student has declared the animal prior to move-in. Not a traditional household pet? Define traditional, Karen. In a moment of pure crackhead energy, I decide this is the hill I'm willing to die on. I start Googling weird pets that aren't traditional, and that's how I end up choosing parrots. Specifically, 3 of them. Not because I needed emotional support. Not because they're quiet, they're not. Not because they're easy to take care of, they're demons. But because it would be absolutely hysterical to show up in a foreign country with a literal squad of parrots like I'm a dollar store pirate. Technically, nowhere in the packet does it say how many non-traditional pets are allowed. And parrots aren't traditional in most households unless you're 87 years old and living in Florida. So I file the paperwork like a good little gremlin, declaring my emotional support birds, named Taco, Mango, and Slippy. Got my vet to write a note saying they were trained for companionship and cultural enrichment. It's half true, they're enriching in the way a toddler with a drum set is enriching. The program coordinator emails me back like 3 weeks later, just approved. See you soon, no questions asked. No, wait, why 3? No, are they loud? Just blind, dangerous trust. Mistake. Fast forward to move-in day. I step off the plane, duffel bag on one shoulder, parrot cage in my arms. 3 Technicolor nightmares screeching their little feathered faces off at full volume in the arrivals hall. Every head swivels. People look at me like I'm smuggling illegal fireworks. My host family pulls up holding a cute little welcome sign. They see me. They see the parrots. Their smiles freeze like a buffering YouTube video. Is this normal? The dad asks, very politely, while my parrot Mango is trying to pick the buttons off my jacket with demonic precision. I just nod and hit him with, it was approved. Official paperwork and everything. They're too stunned to argue. I load Taco, Mango, and Slippy into the minivan like I'm moving in 3 drunk toddlers. And that's how my exchange year started. The parrots immediately started asserting dominance. First night in the house? They figured out how to unlatch their cage. I wake up to Slippy sitting on my head like a cursed feathered hat. Taco's learning curse words faster than I learned the local language. Mango keeps trying to steal jewelry and hide it in the sofa cushions. I wasn't even mad, I was proud. Every day was pure chaos. Slippy dive-bombing my host brother during breakfast. Mango making perfect ringtone noises during family prayer time. Taco screeching, beer, at full blast when the neighbors dropped by. It was art. It was poetry. It was also very, very loud. And the best part? I had receipts. If anyone complained, I could just hit them with the per section 6, paragraph 2 of the host family agreement, and watch them crumble inside. By week 2, my parrots had the whole damn neighborhood on lock. First sign of war. The host family's grandma comes over for dinner, super sweet lady, offers me cookies, right? Mango immediately swoops down, steals one out of her hand midair and screams, mine. Like a cracked out seagull. Grandma shrieks, drops the whole tray, and suddenly I'm standing in the middle of the living room like a Disney villain surrounded by screaming relatives and flying feathers. Host mom pulls me aside, whisper screaming like, are they trained? I'm like, yeah, they're just enthusiastic. 2 days later, I get an official looking email from the program head, hi. Just checking in, any concerns adjusting with your host family? Bitch, you should be checking if the host family's adjusting to me. Taco learned how to mimic the host dad's ringtone. Every time the dude's phone rings, Taco immediately goes, ding ding, pick up the phone, ding ding, louder, shriller, way more aggressive. Host dad falls for it every time. Man's walking around twitching like he's got PTSD. It gets worse. Slippy figures out how to open door handles. Bro, I wake up at 2 a.m. one night because Slippy had escaped, broken into the guest bedroom, and was eating a passport. Host sister's passport. Little psycho chewed through half the photo page before I tackled him like a linebacker. I'm thinking, okay, maybe we're pushing it a little far. Maybe I gotta lock the birds up tighter. Nope. Next morning, whole host family sits me down for an intervention breakfast. Super serious. Pancakes and glaring. Host mom goes, we need to talk about the birds. I'm like, sure, what's up? Host dad deadass pulls out a list. Property damage, noise complaints, missing jewelry, inappropriate language. Bro, they straight up made a rap sheet for my parrots. I'm barely holding it together. Slippy's on my shoulder chewing my hoodie, Mango's clicking ominously like a broken Geiger counter, and Taco, I swear to God, is whistling the cops' theme song. They tell me I either rehome the birds, or find another host family that's okay with my unorthodox companions. Without missing a beat, I whip out the welcome packet. Per paragraph 6, subpoint 2, non-traditional pets are permitted if declared prior to arrival. I declared them. They were approved. Host dad rubs his face like he's deciding between crying or committing tax fraud. Host mom looks like she aged 15 years in 5 minutes. Host sister just sits there slowly sliding her new passport into a Ziploc bag like it's under witness protection. They realize they can't kick me out without breaking program rules. They realize I have the power. The parrots realize it too. And they get cockier. Library trip next week? I bring Mango in a little travel cage, right? Quiet at first. Super chill. Librarians all smiles. But the second it gets silent, like dead silent, Mango lets out the nastiest, most realistic fart noise you've ever heard. Everyone turns to look at me like I just unloaded an unholy demon from my ass. Old ladies coughing, kids giggling, librarian glaring daggers into my soul. I try to play it cool but Mango just keeps going. Different sounds, different pitches, like a whole damn orchestra of shame. I get officially banned from the library for disruptive behavior. Ban letter and everything. Frame worthy. By month 3, the parrots were local legends. Neighbors knew them by name. Host sister's friends would come over just to get roasted by Taco, who learned how to say, Seuss, anytime someone walked in wearing ugly shoes. At one point the host family just gave up and started bribing the birds with treats to behave. Host mom tried teaching Mango to say, welcome, to guests. Mango learned it, and added, you ugly, right after. Honestly, I was proud of them. Menaces? Absolutely. Legends? Also absolutely. If you find a loophole, exploit it to the max. And maybe don't underestimate what 3 tiny, angry dinosaurs can accomplish with enough spite and loose legal wording. Aita for reading my contract before they tried to boot me and demanding 3 months pay like a boss? I'm working at this mid-tier corporate hellhole. The kind of place where they say stuff like, "We're a family," but won't even lend you a stapler without filling out a form in triplicate. I'm chilling though. Easy job, decent money, free coffee that tastes like battery acid but gets the job done. New management rolls in. Some dude named Brad with slicked back hair and teeth so white he could signal planes with them. Within a month, all the OG employees start disappearing like NPCs in a zombie game. No announcements, no goodbyes. Just empty chairs and "don't ask questions" vibes. One Friday, my manager, let's call her Karen because obviously, calls me into her office. Whole fake smile, too much perfume, desperate energy. "Hey, so, we're doing a little restructuring and think it's time for you to explore new opportunities. We'd love for you to resign voluntarily. We can even process it today." Translation: get the hell out without making noise or you get nothing. Normally I would have panicked. Old me would have signed whatever papers she shoved in my face just to avoid awkwardness. But not this time, because guess what? When they gave me my hiring contract 6 months ago, I actually read that boring 18-page monstrosity cover to cover. Took me 2 Monster Energy cans and pure spite, but I did it. And hidden there, page 14, paragraph 3, in Arial font size -2, was a beautiful, magical line. In the event of employer-initiated termination without cause, employees shall be entitled to 3 months' salary as severance compensation. Key phrase: employer-initiated termination. If I resign voluntarily, I get squat, nada. If they fire me, I get a fat bag. So I smile back at Karen, the fakest smile I've ever summoned in my life, and say, "Oh, thanks for the opportunity. Could you put that request in writing for me?" Karen blinks. She wasn't ready. No need for paperwork, we can just process it. Nah, Karen, I'm a paperwork kinda guy. Let's get it official. At this point she's sweating bullets under that thick office lighting. Probably realizing I know what's up. She tries to pivot. "Well, if you don't resign today, we might have to terminate you." I'm full grinning now. "Cool, let's do that. Please initiate the termination process officially. I'll be happy to receive my severance package as outlined in my contract." Her face drops so hard you could hear the Windows XP shutdown sound. And just like that, the power balance flipped. I wasn't the sad little employee about to get yeeted. I was the grim reaper of HR policies. She tries to play it cool. "Oh, we'll have to discuss this with upper management, give us some time." "No problem, Karen. Take all the time you need." I go back to my desk, grab some stale-ass cookies from the break room, and start watching the chaos unfold from my cubicle like a king surveying his soon-to-be scorched kingdom. By Monday, they pull me back into the office. Different vibe, no more smiles, no more fake, family energy. Now it's tight faces and awkward folder shuffling. They try one more time to strong-arm me. "If you resign today, we can give you a positive reference letter." Wow, thanks for the bare minimum, Karen. I counter with, "If you terminate me today, you'll still legally owe me $10,500. Karen looks like she's trying not to vomit into her Starbucks cup. Finally, they cave. They hand me an official termination letter. I whip out my copy of the contract like it's the Constitution and hand it over with the highlighted severance clause. So they hand me the termination letter like it's radioactive, like even touching it burns their soul a little. I'm sitting there, calm as hell, while Karen's trying to staple papers with shaking hands. Meanwhile, I'm already mentally spending my severance money on dumb stuff like limited edition sneakers and the world's biggest box of Hot Pockets. They tell me, "We'll process your severance over the next 2 pay periods." I'm like, "Nah, bro. Contract says payment must be made in full within 30 days of termination." Yeah, I read the whole thing. Even the fine print. Even the "if you can read this you're a nerd" jokes buried in the footer. Karen's face? Priceless. She excuses herself to double-check with legal. 10 minutes later she shuffles back like a whipped dog and says, "You're correct. We'll arrange full payment." Damn right you will. At this point, the whole office knows something is up. People keep walking past my desk real slow, peeking like I'm a zoo exhibit. I'm in full king mode, sipping free break room coffee like it's a victory chalice. HR sends me an exit interview invite. I politely decline. Nothing to say unless it's with a lawyer present, Karen. I spend my last 2 days doing the absolute bare minimum. rearranging sticky notes into the shape of a middle finger on my monitor. Setting my email auto-reply to, "I'm no longer available to solve problems you created. Have a blessed day." Dropping all my office supplies into a giant box labeled, "Spoils of War." Finally, my last hour rolls around. Karen does the forced goodbye thing. Whole team fake smiles and claps half-heartedly like they're being held hostage. Some dude from accounting mutters, "Legend," under his breath as I walk past. I get in the elevator, severance check pending, dignity intact, middle fingers mentally blazing. Now here's the cherry on top. The day after I leave, I get a LinkedIn notification. Guess who viewed my profile? Karen. 3 times. Guess who updated their own profile to say, "Experienced in conflict resolution"? Also Karen. Bro, I laughed so hard I nearly spilled Monster on my cat. I make my own LinkedIn update. Successfully navigated a complex contractual exit with full severance due to careful document review and negotiation strategy. Always read your contracts, folks. Attached a picture of me in sunglasses holding a smoothie like a champion. Got like 500 likes. Recruiters started sliding into my DMs. Got offered 2 better paying jobs within a month. One even gave me a signing bonus big enough to actually buy those limited edition sneakers. Meanwhile, Karen's probably out here hosting awkward team building seminars trying not to hire another nerd who reads paperwork. Don't fold, don't resign, read your damn contracts.